Hey everyone, what is up? It is Jazzy J here in the building, Jasmine Victoria. So I just wanted to come on here and share my experience with taking the DAT for my first time. So I'm not sure if you already saw the scores, which I'm pretty sure you have, or I told you. But I did not do so hot on the DAT. My AA was 15. There was a lot of factors that played into the score. And by no means am I complaining or trying to make excuses or anything. I take full responsibility for the way that everything panned out for my exam. So, not saying that it was anybody else's fault but myself. Disclosure. So I'm making this video to share my experience. I'm not making this video to tell you like what is on the exam. I'm not here to scare you. I'm not here to this when you listen to my story, it's not for you to think that it's going to go the same way for you. It's not for you to say like or to think that you're going to get the same types of questions. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that the DAT was hard, and I'm not saying that it's not hard. I'm just sharing my experience so that hopefully you guys learn from my mistakes so that you can prepare yourself mentally and physically because I did not do that. Leading up to the exam, I did study for 3 months. I started May, a week after the semester ended in spring of 2020. So I studied May. And what I did, I started out studying the basics of OChem because I've never been strong in OChem, so I knew that I needed more time with that. So I took what I had left of May to study for the basics of OChem. So I just went back in my textbook and I went back over the like the hybridization and things like that. June, July, August. So those 3 months, I did use boot camp, and I only used boot camp. I did not use it correctly, so I would mark questions, but I would never like spend the time to like go over them. I would mark questions and never go back to them. So my study technique just was not efficient at all. I did have a couple summer classes, but in August I didn't have any summer classes. So yeah. Obviously, we were all going through COVID, so I didn't have access to the library, which is where I go whenever I study for anything. So it was difficult for me to study in my house because I do have a roommate, and I just felt bad for taking over our living room. But she ended up moving out, so I had the place to myself for a little bit. So I my living room became a study war zone. I am fortunate to have a desk job at work, so I did stay after work sometimes. So yeah, I studied a lot, but the issue was I didn't study efficiently. So even though I got a 15 AA, I'm extremely proud of my scores because I did better than I thought. It's not that I did better than I thought. I thought I was praying that I was going to do better, but I did good for what I went through. So first of all, the entire summer I was dealing with the hardest breakup of my life, and I will make a separate video for that because we ain't got time for that right now. So it was very hard to battle my emotions and stay fully concentrated on my studies. But I still sat there. I still disciplined myself for 3 months, and I still, went over the material. I mean, I wasn't efficient in my studies, but I still made the time. I still sat there and I still studied, and I fought my emotions. So I'm very proud. Another factor was I had to travel to take the test. So basically, my test was scheduled for May. I was planning to take it in May. Everything with COVID, everybody's that got rescheduled. Whoever was supposed to take it in April, whoever was supposed to take it in May, whoever was supposed to take it in March, all of those people got rescheduled. So of course, all of the appointments got taken up. And Prometric prior to COVID didn't have as many open appointments. So I, when I went to go schedule my test, I had to, I scheduled it originally in October, but I was afraid that October was too late. So I decided to push it up, which I was nervous about because I didn't feel like I was ready, but I wanted to just take it and get it over with. And if I had to retake it, I still had the second chance to take the DAT within the same year. So if I didn't do well in September, October, November, December, I could still take it in December versus taking it in October. And if I had to retake it, I would have had to take it in January and potentially push back a chance of getting enrolled for 2021. So I went with September for that reason. I traveled to a neighboring state. The drive was under 2 hours, so it wasn't anything crazy, but it was a little crazy because I was a little stressed, waking up early in the morning, having to go take an Uber to go get the rental car because I didn't want to take my own. So I woke up early to go get the rental car, and then there was somebody that came with me, so I picked them up, and then they came with me or whatever, and yeah, so the travel really wasn't that bad, but I kind of felt bad for the person that came with me because I felt like I had to entertain them. And so I felt really bad because we couldn't go to places that, to have, like, we weren't there for fun, basically. So I felt like I kind of wanted to do some things so that this person wasn't, bored, because it's boring, like sitting there and like, and not necessarily understanding the stress of this person, but like, trying to be supportive. And so I appreciate the person that came with me for coming. I felt really bad. I appreciate them coming. That meant a lot. It was great support. And that person was very comforting. So it was good. Just make sure that if you have to travel to another city or another state and somebody wants to come to support you, it's totally fine, but just make sure that that person is on board and like aware that you're there to take a test, and that you're going to be under stress, and that you cannot engage in conversations that will add more stress. So yeah, so it was important, and this person that came with me was understanding of that. And so, but it's just me, like whenever I'm around someone, I feel like I have to talk to them. Like, it's just my nature. Like, I feel like I have to entertain people. Like, it's hard for me to sit in a room and like not say anything to someone. So so I got a little chatty, but it's the night before the test, so it should not have been a big deal because I've studied for 3 months, and it might even be a better idea to just be alone so that you have that time to review material prior to the exam. But like I said, I'm a people person, so if you're staying in the hotel with me, I have to talk to you. So I didn't get an opportunity to review material the night before the exam. I was very, 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 very nervous, like ridiculously nervous. So a backstory for QR, I went by what someone told me, which was my first mistake. For this DAT, you need to do your own research on what to expect for the test and what is going to be on the test and what type of subjects are going to be on the test. Don't go by what anyone says. It's nice to hear what people have to say about their experiences, things like that, but never go by what somebody says. So if somebody tells you that the majority of their test was algebra, don't go off of that, because you can get mostly comparison problems, you can get mostly sufficiency problems. So don't go off of other people's experiences. Just go off of, what they did to prepare. Listen in that aspect, but don't listen to them in regards to an expectation that you're going to get the same thing. For QR, I was told by someone that it was mostly algebra, so that's what I was expecting. So all summer, I did not study for QR. I think it was 3 days prior to my testing date, so I tested on a Monday. So that Friday before the test, I took a practice exam, and I realized that the QR section was not algebra. So I'm like, wow, this is not this is not algebra. What the heck? So I didn't study for QR like at all. So all Saturday I was trying to study for QR, and I was watching all these videos. I was posting in the DAT group for boot camp and asking people like how can I get my QR score up? Like, what did you guys use to study? Like, I have 2 days left. I'm freaking out. And I knew that Saturday was my last day to study, because I knew that somebody was coming with me on Sunday to take the test, and that it was probably going to go in a situation where we were going to talk all night, and it wasn't going to be a situation where I actually reviewed material. So I knew it was going to go that way. So I knew that Saturday was my real last day to study. I was up all night. I drank so much coffee. I woke up, I think that day, that whole week it was hard for me to sleep. So specifically on Saturday, I woke up around 6 o'clock in the morning, and I just jumped right into studying. And I took some breaks, but it wasn't like that long, because I was too anxious to try and understand the QR. So I really sat there all day and tried to get it. So for QR, I woke up at 6, and then I went to bed around 4 in the morning on Sunday. And then I woke up at 6 in the morning because I needed to finish packing. I took a shower and I washed my hair, and washing your hair, for me, it takes a long time. So I had to give myself more than an hour to get ready. So I gave myself 3 hours. Then I went to go pick up the car, and then I went to go pick up the person, and then I went into town, got some snacks, walked around. The town that I went to was an hour ahead, so I did not think about that because I lost an hour. So on Sunday, when I went to go pick up the car, and like just the stress of like trying to get the car, and going through all that, calling the Uber, things like that, that was it was a lot. So when by the time we got into town, to the town where I was taking my test, I had a headache. I was getting a headache because I didn't eat, I didn't sleep, and I had drunk all this coffee because I was trying to stay awake to understand the QR section. So for the QR section, I drank a bunch of coffee and I was like shaking. So on Sunday, I didn't eat, I didn't drink any water, so my body was like starting to break down on me. So everything was catching up to me. So then I started getting a headache, and I was like, okay, whatever, I'll just take I'll just take an Advil or something. Like, I took one, but it didn't help. So then I went and I took Bayer. It's Bayer. I took those, but I still had a headache. And so I started like stressing out because I wanted to review, but I also had this like massive ass headache. And then so I started getting really, I don't know why, but I would like stand up and like at one point I brushed my teeth, and I was just standing in the hotel, and like my legs went numb, my arms went numb, my chest started tightening, and I couldn't like breathe. It was hard to breathe. It was just a hot mess. I had like a pain in my kidney. Um, yeah, I had like, I know that like your kidneys, right? So your kidneys, your adrenal gland sits on top of it, and your adrenal gland releases cortisol, which is released during stress, right? Environments of stress. So I was like, dang, like it hurts right here in my kidney. So my adrenal glands are probably like cortisol, cortisol, cortisol. Yeah, because I was stressed out, and unfortunately, the morning of the exam, I still had like the headache. I felt like that headache was borderline, like it was like borderline migraine. And so, while I was taking the exam, I had this massive headache. I couldn't concentrate. I was too nervous, and I didn't really read the exam. I wish I was lying to you, but like that, I was really, really stressed out. And I've never been stressed out so much in my life, but I've never been the best at standardized tests. So it was stressful for me. And I mean, I've survived OChem, I survived physics, I survived bio. So yeah, I was stressed out. That's that was my experience. So just take that, and the advice that I have to give for the future test takers is to really just like relax, because I took the exam and I was like, wow, this really wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's very similar to boot camp. All sections were similar to boot camp, which I'll go into right now. But yeah, my advice is just not to worry, not to stress out, because it really wasn't as bad of an experience as I thought it was going to be. There were some things that were different that threw me off, but I was a ball full of like stress and anxiety and for no freaking reason. But don't be discouraged. You know, it's not the end of the world. Um, you're smarter than you think you are. So do not get nervous. You've got this. Don't worry. All glory to God. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And like, comment, whatever. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great day and happy studying.